so well, they're going to 30 minutes public session now, and I wouldn't get down. Anyway, always make feel me.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, at 7 o'clock, I'll formally open the meeting. First of all, we will. Sorry, I'll just find the paperwork. We'll go straight into the public session. And we have one application with 2 questions. As this is the only one we've got, and nobody will take all questions. We can take that.
Thanks very much. Do the Council fully accept the conclusions of the Jay and Casey reports, and will they call on all councillors at RMBC to resign now from all posts in public life, especially those which to any degree involve the protection of children? And just to be clear, I'm on about all borough councillors, past and present, and I mean literally all posts in public life, from borough councillor down to school governor, down to, you know, trustees of charities. They should leave public life altogether, in my view.
That's what every or just ones indicated,
I'd say
or serving borough councillors that have on the post.
all borough councillors, past and present.
And you want to indicate that all their other posts as well.
I believe the entire body should go. Yeah, it's broken as a body. It's not just down to individuals. I mean, I'm on a soapbox now, but if I had my way, I'd disband Rotherham Council completely, and I'd absorb the various bits of it into neighbouring authorities. But that's not
well, as far as that,
a question. That's not a subject for this. Yeah.
Well, that's not for us. I don't think we have anything.
No, but I mean, my question is what I said before.
Right, I will.
Can we have thingies off so we can hear? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
We can, but it'll get cold quite quickly. And it's cold now.
We'll take the chance.
The microphones never go.
Right, questions being posed to members. Would members like to respond?
Do you make whatever the political persuasion?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Do you mean whatever their political persuasion?
Yeah, everyone at RMBC.
Well, we're taking into account what the Casey report says, when it actually starts by saying that Rotherham Borough Council is not fit for purpose. Then I would have thought that every borough councillor in Rotherham would have done the decent thing as soon as that came out and would have resigned along with the cabinet members. I mean, the cabinet members resigned, but they would have been kicked out anyway when the commissioners came in. So they've resigned before they were pushed. What I also find interesting is that each time a report's come out, the leader of Rotherham Borough Council has run out as if his backside's on fire. But every borough councillor is implicated. Casey's report comes up to the present day and says that she can't believe that they're still in denial. They deny that the J report has any real relevance. They argue about how many girls it were. Whether the figures are right or not. It's not about the fact that CSE were right. Councillors have actually been interviewed, going into a meeting, I think either Wednesday night or Thursday, and still deny that the Casey report is true. So it's time the whole lot went, and that we as the people of this Rotherham have the right to vote and give our verdict on what the Casey report actually says. It says they're not fit for purpose, so they should all go.
Yeah.
Any other comments on the question posed? Me personally, I accept absolutely everything that's been said in the reports. How can we not? I have tried to read the report. I got through most of it. And it's quite damning, and yeah, I completely accept it. Does anybody else have any?
drastic to say everybody should go. When we're not being there personally, we don't know what every individual needs. But we could do. We're drastic to say everybody. Both.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, let's be right, you say that you shouldn't hold it. What she actually says is, Rotherham Borough Council is not fit for purpose. That means every councillor on Rotherham Borough has not done the job properly, they're not fit for purpose, they should all go. There's no question
Does
about
that
it.
also include all officers and everyone that works?
We're not talking about that. She says the council, the councillors. I mean, just one little situation out of case report, which I find absolutely, which actually proves just how Rotherham Borough Council runs. Right? Licensing board. It knows that Clifton Park is one of the hot points for CSE, for taxi drivers to take them there. Right? So they say, we're going to do a sting on it. We're going to observe it for 5 nights until 10 o'clock at night. They say, oh, we didn't find anything, nobody turned up. Of course they did, because they'd had a meeting with taxi drivers 2 days before and told them that they were going to do it. That's Rotherham Borough Council. Rotherham Borough Council is not fit for purpose. It's strange that we have a borough councillor here that's not actually saying no, isn't it?
I would have put weight in the but what I will say, Councillor Smith, you're wrong. The Cabinet haven't all resigned as councillors. They resigned from the council as Cabinet members.
I said they resigned as cabinet members.
You said to start with that they resigned as councillors.
No, I did not.
You did.
No,
You
I
did.
did
And I
not.
listened to what you said.
I did
So-
not. No, I
so-
did not. I said they resigned as cabinet members before they got pushed.
Councillor Smith.
Let me say.
I don't allow him to misrepresent.
No, that's what I said. You said if everybody took over the council and the cabinet, they've all resigned. That's what you said. They were your words. They were quite your words. What
I
you
said the cabinet members have resigned.
They haven't resigned from the council. What
I never said they resigned from the council. I said they resigned as cabinet members.
Councillor Smith, allow Councillor
We
Tweed
said
to
the all
continue.
following the council, the cabinet have all resigned. That's up to the individual council what they want to do. As I said the other day on the interview.
Can you speak up, please? I can't
So
hear
yeah,
you.
I will council the phone to on the thing. If people start working together, because that's what they've got to do, and get this sorted out now, that's what will happen. It's everybody to work together, opposition members, Labour members, and what will happen, there will be all-out elections in 2016. That's part of the thing. So then, 2016, there will all be all-out elections, so then we'll be good. That's all I'm saying.
It's just same as expenses fiddle. Until they got
Sorry,
caught, they didn't want to know. Sorry, I can't speak, can I?
No, yeah, you can. Just indicate that you want to come through the chair.
Can I
and
come
you
through
can
the chair?
speak.
Sorry,
But
Ron.
we're not talking about expenses.
No, I'm just saying, they've got found out now, and now they're going to sort it out. It said the council is not fit for purpose. In my eyes, it's all the council, all the hired help as well. A lot wants clearing out if they can't come to some arrangement sort it out.
Well, that's your opinion.
I'm entitled to it,
To be
thank
fair
you.
to everybody, UKIP actually said that they would resign and that if the rest of the council resigned, so they say that they're willing to stand, they're willing to resign and they're willing to stand again.
We want to resign straight away.
Excuse
Sorry, well, from Chair.
Indicate.
We want to resign straight away.
Yeah.
We'd rather go back up now.
Yeah.
Okay, we really don't want to politicise this.
What do you mean
I-
politicising? It's political.
Well, it is, but I think it's more important that things have got done.
But I just say, I mean, we've had the jail report, which was rather damning to start with.
Could you
what's
speak up,
happened-
please?
What's happened from the jail report to the case report, which councillor, if any, did anything about the jail report? No one. And that's why the council is not fit for purpose.
I'm not disagreeing with you. In fact, I think I've made my point quite clear.
Let's take another review and people to say, oh dear, they've done nothing. Let's do another council.
I mean, if we actually take your point, Councillor Scott, what we said, if you look what Casey said that what she expected to find when she went to Rotherham was, because of the J report, that what she expected to find was a council that was doing something about it, because they said they'd accepted the J report in full. And once she got in there, she couldn't believe that they were just denying everything, and they were in denial. So they haven't done anything. They were trying to say that they've done things about CSE. They've done nothing. There haven't been any prosecutions. There haven't been anything. All you've got is people running out of the back door with a load of money in the back pocket, and that's it. You know, so as far as I'm concerned, they should go. And they can't all work together anyway. Why have they been working together since J report? UKIP's offered to do it, and I'm not a UKIP supporter, but I have to give them the job. They've actually said, you know, we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. Well, what's happened? You get 53 of them all sat down there laughing at them. That's what you get.
Can you, when you want to come in, through the chair, because I've got someone that already indicated they want to time out. Councillor Cotton.
That case report also said the problems were across the political divide.
Would you speak up, please?
The problems were across the political divide.
Have you read it all, right?
Across the
No,
board.
read that bit.
Have you read it all?
No,
I've read every 59 pages.
read that bit.
Right?
Read that bit. Yeah, across the political divide.
Yeah, well, they accept the UKIP offered to resign, the President offered to go. So, you know.
Can I bring Mr. Sadler back in as indicated?
Yeah, I mean, to say it's a bit drastic, I mean, we're a bit beyond drastic, aren't we, to be honest, at this point. And, I mean, it's not fair to pick on Simon, because it's only borough councillors who's had decency to turn up. And I take no pleasure in it, because, you know, Simon, on a personal level, I like you, you're a nice guy. But I saw you on Channel 4 News being harangued by the reporter on your way in, asked to make a comment, and all you'd say is, I'll speak to you when I come out, I'll speak to you when I come out, I'll speak to you when I come out, which to me translates as, I'm going in there to be told what to say, then I'm going to come out and I'm going to say it. And this is the kind of rubbish that we've had from all our borough councils now for years. Rotherham's been run by a small group of very corrupt individuals, and all they've done now with the Casey report is they've peed off the one person in the country, Pickles, who can just take them and do away with them at a stroke. That's been their final mistake, and that's the only reason that, you know, we haven't got borough councillors here now telling us what a great job they're doing. So, I mean, to be honest, Simon, I'm sorry, just a sec.
Yeah.
I can't, if I were in your position, I can't envisage how I could carry on. I mean, I'd just want to get out as soon as possible and let someone else take over.
Wednesday was not the time when I came out and was interviewed. The day I was interviewed was Thursday morning, when me and Councillor Jepson had been, Thursday afternoon, we'd been to a separate meeting to represent the Greenbelt group. And when I come out, both BBC I gave an interview for, and for Sky News. And my interview, which took place on Thursday afternoon, was actually on Radio Sheffield. And I said a lot more than that. That's what, when I was Wednesday.
What about the Channel 4 News one? Why did you have to go into Town Hall first before you could give them a comment?
Let me tell you something.
Is that what Labour Party do?
Please.
Yeah, we know that.
I've just come from work and I had not read the report. When I'd not read the report on Wednesday, because I'd been at work about 1 o'clock and drove to Rotherham. That's why I didn't give a comment. It was unprofessional to give a statement when I'd not read the report. When I read it on Wednesday, I read it all Wednesday evening, and when me and Councillor Jepson met, obviously officers from the Greenbelt over for Dinnington here, to try and push it, I came out and they asked me, and the interview was on there, so, you know, give me some credit for that. When I read it, and you'll see what I said if you look at it. So.
You're the best of them. That's all I can say. But I still don't think you've got a credible position. I mean, you know, like I said, I take no pleasure from saying it to you, but I think you all, as a body, have to go, and you have to let other people in. I mean, even standing for re-election after it, I think could just be totally unacceptable. That's my view.
Right, would you like to move on to
Yeah.
Just a minute.
I think you can see what Rotherham Borough Council are like when Councillor Abraham don't turn up at this meeting. The first meeting after J report, Councillor Abraham didn't turn up. And it's, that's typical of the Labour Party as it is in Rotherham. It's cowardice.
Yeah.
So, forgive me, I don't know you. Are you Dinnington resident? Please continue.
I'd just like to know if anyone's got an update on implementation reports at the moment. It's been some days since all the shenanigans happened, but what's actually happening now with regards to all this? There must be a protocol in place now to implement those reports, and I just wonder what's happening in that way.
Okay. It is relevant to this subject, so we'll allow it, obviously. It does seem to be like a separate question.
I'll answer you that. Obviously, the Rotherham Chief Executive wrote to the government to obviously welcome the commissioners coming in. There'll be 5 commissioners coming in. One will one will obviously take up the position of the Chief Executive, and the other and another one will be for Children and Young People Services. The other 3 will go across the board as yet. There's nothing for them. There was looking at about 2 to 3 weeks before they're in place. Currently at the moment, because it was going on for a new chief executive, was in the process of a new chief executive being appointed. But I think that's on hold at the moment until these commissioners come in. And then when the commissioners come in, they can be in place between 4 to 5 years. And the one that will be, I think it's classed as managing director, will have the power to appoint chief monitoring officer and a new chief executive to work under himself or himself.
And the finance director.
Yeah.
Move on to point 2.
Yeah, the other question, I mean, and you said it's more of a statement, and you might be right, but for some reason, for some time now, local people have been coming to DTC to every meeting and telling you about the dishonesty, the poor standard of service and the general contempt that we're held in at RMBC. So please, when we tell you this next time, will you please, as a body, believe us? Because, you know, if we'd been a bit more robust on certain issues that have happened over the last few years, I think Dinnington would have had a better deal. One example I'd give is when Lakin and Mr. Akhtar came to Dinnington about a year ago to tell us why we were losing our Shore Start Centre. And they dominated the meeting. Every time anyone tried to say anything against their views, they were stamped on straight away by both of them. I think Akhtar at one stage accused Dave of frightening some children or something like that, something pathetic.
I'm just wondering if that's a good example, because wasn't it as a result of the consultation that Dinnington kept it?
Right, I'm coming round to this. It's the conduct of the council towards RMBC. None of you who came to there, borough councillor or town councillor, said boo to a goose. You just let them ride roughshod all through that meeting, all over Dinnington. And at the end of it, you were all gathered round Akhtar and his cronies like they were some kind of rock stars. And I have to say, it was nauseating to watch that.
Well, I can refute the statement there, because I certainly wasn't.
You certainly
well,
were.
When you say all, do you mean some of?
I'm sorry.
I certainly wasn't.
You were stood there smiling at him, talking to him like he was Jack the Lad.
Not, and haven't.
Right, well, I'm willing to be proved wrong, but I'm pretty sure my memory's not playing me up.
I know exactly what I think of certain persons that you're talking about, and I certainly didn't.
Right, well,
If you want a fair example of how it happens, and you can all relate to this because you were all here, when that chap came here talking about shutting that nursing home, I think it were, he shot Dave down, he shot the last down from advertiser, and not one of you stood up and said a thing about it at all, not one of you. And that was precisely what he means. And I think you've turned corner, hopefully, because you're now beginning to put a bit of fight in your bellies. But it's exactly what's been happening from day one of me attending these meetings. When it's come from Rotherham, you've just gone with the flow and done nothing at all to respond to it. Nothing. But now I hope you turn the corner.
I think that when you're talking about that, that meeting, I think it is symptomatic of the content, because Akhtar, who were then deputy leader of Rotherham Borough Council, was sat in the audience pretending he weren't there. He weren't admitting who he were, what he was there for. He did nothing until I outed him. I stood up and outed him and said, you're the deputy leader, so why don't you tell us what you're going to do and you can save him. And that's when he started to get rather upset and accused me of frightening children. Well, I think for somebody like Akhtar and the rest of the council to actually accuse me of frightening children, I think that's a bit of a laugh.
It's a bit sick.
In the light of
You're absolutely right. They don't treat. I mean, it's like if we put in against anything, whatever we do, we put in and we say that we're against it. It can be planning, it can be anything, and it just gets ignored. It's rather than just treat us as if they're not there for us. They're there in spite of us. That's the whole point about Rotherham Borough Council, and that's why they're not fit for purpose, and they should go.
Here, dear.
Any other comments or members about the statement made by Mr. Lewis? Sam. Okay, would you like to come back one more time and then we'll conclude the public session?
No, I mean, I'm a bit disappointed that no one's got out to say, to be honest. Even if it's to tell me I'm wrong.
I'll go back to...
Could you speak up, please?
I'll go back to what was saying that nobody from our council put the hand up and asked a question at that meeting. I did. And twice I was ignored. And they wanted, after that, they said about any of the questions, put the hand up and they said, well, we want questions from parents. And if you remember right, that's what they did. They went to parents then.
Oh, why don't you push your issue?
Yeah, you were treated to be contempt like that.
We take your point, but there were representation.
Yeah, I mean, I had my hand up for so long, I practically turned into a tree, but yeah.
Right, if that is the only question, so I will close the public session now and move on to the formal part of the meeting, starting with apologies.
Could you speak up, please?
Yeah, we've got apologies from Councillor Mitchell, Jackson and Footpath.
Reasons were supplied, but they don't have to be read out, we have checked this out, and we can take a vote to accept those without the reasons being given.
See, that again is another part of the contempt that...
There's no contempt.
The councillors...
Are you saying that I'm not following your process?
Councillors summoned, I'm not bothered about that.
Oh,
Councillors
no.
are summoned to meetings, right? Falvey ain't been, this is third meeting she's not been. Councillor Abraham, she's chickened out because of
Please
because
don't
the
make
votes come out.
swinking statements
It's
like that.
the third one, that, and it's now 6 months since Philip Wardle attended a meeting.
Excuse me?
Sure, I reckon,
Have you
and these lot are going to vote, to accept apologies that do no damn reason, right? You've no idea what the apologies
Don't
are.
try to showboat.
You've got no
Right.
idea what the apologies are.
Apologies been put forward, show of hands to accept the apologies. Thank you.
Can we show your hands again?
Move on to
We have two
the second
again.
item,
We have two again.
which is to consider any matters determined as urgent by the chair.
I'd like to put forward
I'm sorry, I'm the chair, it's what I put forward. If you've not brought them forward to me before this, I'm afraid it's too late.
I can put forward, I can ask for,
You can ask?
I can ask for an emergency motion to be put to the meeting.
Fine.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Well, my emergency motion is, in light of the Louise Casey report in which Rotherham Borough Council were found to be not fit for purpose, this council calls on all borough councillors to do the decent thing and resign with immediate effect. Now, you've got to take a vote on whether or not this council accepts to have the debate later on in the agenda for the emergency motion.
Show of hands to allow that one to be brought in by me as an urgent item. Those four.
Oh dear.
You've got to be joking.
What a lame lot.
Those against?
Oh, that is shameful.
Disgusting.
Next item.
Disgusting.
You should be ashamed.
Please have respect for the chair while I'm trying to... Are you saying you don't respect me as chair?
You've got it.
Moving on. First item to be brought forward as urgent is the resignation of Councillor Philip Ward. Second item to be brought forward as urgent is details about a YLCA branch meeting which may be very important to members. Third item is to discuss the venue for the April, May and June meetings. Fourth item is to discuss the ICO response to the Freedom of Information Appeal for Burkett. And fifth item is to discuss the April meeting, whether we or can we have a finance meeting as well as the parish meeting. Those will be brought in later into the meeting. So if we move next on to consideration that any items in the pack that you've got should be dealt with in closed session. Does anybody feel anything should be discussed in closed session? No? Okay. Next item is to go through the minutes of the previous town council meeting on the 12th of January. You have page 1.
Bottom of page 1, it says, the amendment to not accept the salary policy by Councillor Smith. Was that seconded by the committee?
Page 2. Page 5. And page 6. So, will somebody with that one amendment will go with the title? Second. Show of hands to approve. Thank you. Okay, second item on it is to approve the minutes of the precept meeting held on the 27th of January. Members have these minutes we've got through to you. So, again, page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. of hands. Thank you. Right, next item is declarations of interest. Simon, on it? You've got that, and also I've stated the items as urgent. Does anybody else have any interest? Right, any matters raised in public session?
Come on, let's see some.
I mean, we could raise
Last-
report again.
Next item is planning applications. Right, first item, you've got the application there. Basically, an application to change use of what used to be mixed retail to residential. Just for your information, I'm sure you worked it out, I think it's what was Joe's shop. Joe's shop. Well, yeah, it was an interesting shop. It was an interesting shop. I don't think it's been a shop for quite a while, to be honest. I think they just fall away from making it. Does anybody have any? Yeah. Anybody have any objections?
Well, we're here, we can't hear what they're saying.
No? Okay.
Why would you want to hear what they're saying?
Next one is two really just for us to take note of. There's two planning applications that had conditional granting. One I know has already started. It's just for you to know that they've been given conditional grants. One is for the play school on New Road, and the other one is for change of use to the site of Old Coach Road. So it's not so much that we need to comment on it, it's just for members to know that it's being granted. Okay. Can someone bring Simon back, please? Right, move on to booking concessions and donations. With one item, an application from Mr Mitchell to use the Lyric Hall for 3 events during 2015. I think it's just a concession license to give. So it's the 60s dance event it was. It's the Alzheimer's Society, and it's supplied a letter from the Alzheimer's Society confirming that it's doing this for them, and they've given us their registered charity number. So members agree to allow the 3. Well, with the repairs that we're having, I think we'll work around it. So, show of hands to allow concessions.
I'd like to hold the Dixon book through the 20th of March. charity funding is a part of it. So I'm going to ask for a concession.
You can if you put a formal request in. We can't do it unless it's on the agenda. We can discuss this.
How is it on the agenda?
No, you understand that we can't take a vote unless it's on the agenda. Right, we can move on to the next item, which is for members' consideration and decisions. First one is to consider moving to electronic distribution of meeting papers. Clark is going to give us an update of exactly what we can do, and it's for your decision whether we decide to go forward with it.
Yeah, recently, some legislation has been passed that means we can particularly issue the summons, as was before, electronically, so on sign it as well.
Could you speak up then?
Yeah, I repeat myself, recently legislation has been passed that summons to issued to councils prior to meetings can be issued electronically, provided it contains some form of electronic signature, which is not a problem, I can do that. So I am proposing to members that rather than suggesting printing off half a forest worth of paper prior to each meeting, we send the papers out electronically. With regards to planning applications, I include in the email links to go straight into the site to see planning applications and then at meetings. So I know people like to look at paper and look at computer screens, print off a set of the papers to share one between two to roughly half the amount of paper we produce in meetings. I've done a little bit of researching potential cost savings on that. As the meetings account for the bulk of our paper and printing usage, it's possible to save up to about £100 a year just in paper and printing costs alone. Not a lot out of it, of course, but it is still there. However, it's to decide.
Okay, does anybody have any comments?
Yeah.
Disposal to the individual members, whether they
Yeah, I'm still quite happy to, even if the majority want the electronic system, for individuals still to receive packs as they always have. Right, okay.
Could you speak up, please? Still can't hear you, sorry. Could you speak up, please?
I'll repeat it in a second. Okay. Councillor's saying that she's quite happy to receive all the pack in electronic form. Okay. So I think if I just go round, really.
Was it a secret? Is that why she couldn't speak up?
Electronic. Electronic. So I think the decision is that we can go ahead, I'll ask for show of hands for it, go ahead with electronic, but with two members that still want to receive packs, and the members that aren't here, if we pass their opinion, they still want to go packs as well. So can I see a show of hands that we do go with electronic with some exceptions? Would you like to record against or? That's fine. Okay. Next item is to consider a proposal to protect 2 footpaths and public rights. You have information there and a map. This has come from Rotherham Borough Council asking our opinions. I will probably preempt members of the public wanting to come in by asking if members don't mind that Mr Sadler comes in on this item, because I think it originated from him. Can I have a show of hands that you can take part in this particular part? Right, that's fine. That's not saying you have to. I've got a feeling.
No, thanks for having a look at it. Basically, it's a little bit like a planning application. 2 years ago, I went round and surveyed the local footpaths on some of the land near Lakeland Drive that might possibly get built on in the near future. And me and the chap who helped me, a guy called Barry, noticed that a lot of the footpaths aren't registered. So if they were built on, there's no guarantee people would be able to walk on them in the future. So the idea is we picked the 6 most used ones, and we went round and got people to fill in witness forms, and about 150 people filled in a witness form to say they'd used these paths for donkey's years. And we applied to RMBC for them to be entered onto what's called the definitive map. So these are the first 2 that have come up. RMBC are going to look at them. They've notified the landowner. They're waiting to see if the landowner's got any objections. And as part of it, the standard procedure, they also ask bodies like the local parish council if they've got any objections or if they support it or anything like that. So they're really just asking your opinion in the same way that RMBC would ask your opinion of a planning application, really.
Well, I mean, I'll come in first. I hope they all pass, because I do use them regularly myself over the dogs. So, but I did have a chat and say that I wasn't too sure about the red marked one, but being assured it is there. Certainly the blue one I use on a regular basis. Members have any comments?
Speak up, please.
Just strongly support it.
So just in favour of supporting the proposal that we support this, and well to write a letter of support in the application to keep them. Yep. Show of hands for the support. Very much.
Thank you.
Next item is to consider the Council's response to RMBC's enforcement policy. It's really just a case of acknowledging that we have it. Does anybody, everyone received this as a copy? Does everybody acknowledge receipt of it? Or does anybody have any comments about it? It's hard reading. I have read it. I'm sure everybody else has. I'm not sure I can comment on any kind of authority. I think I accept it as probably my response. If there's no comments, it's just a show of hands to accept it. Next item is a verbal from Councillor Smith to decide whether to include a report from borough councillors in the monthly agenda.
Yeah, what it is, Mr. Chairman, is that
Could you speak up, please?
we have, that's the first time in my life anybody's asked me to speak up, if you can tell me why you yeah, well, we have 3 borough councillors for Dinnington, and we as councillors, as town councillors, don't know what they do from month to month or from day to day or week to week or whatever. And I know for sure that the general public don't know what borough councillors do from one day to the next. So what I'm proposing is that at these meetings, there's no reason why borough councillors can't give us a report on what meetings they've attended during that month, what decisions have been made. We're paying the wages, and as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason why they can't tell us what they do.
Yeah,
We only have 2 borough councillors on this.
I think you were probably referring to all 3.
We have 3 borough councillors.
We only have 2 borough councillors on
Well, no, you
here.
didn't send an invite to the 3rd.
I'm not talking about their position as town council. I'm talking about the position of borough councillors. So borough councillors don't have to be on here. They can be invited to this meeting and they come as borough councillors.
Are you suggesting that we write to the other borough councillor?
I've been asking that for months. But the point
Is that what you're saying though?
no, what I'm saying is we have 3 borough councillors, right? So all I'm asking is that the borough council, whether or not they're on this town council or not, is immaterial. I'm asking that they can attend this meeting and tell us what they do, what they've done that month, what meetings they've attended, what they've done, what votes they've taken, whatever.
Not written.
It can be written or it can be verbal. I'm not particularly bothered, but what I'm talking about, the main thing for me is that we don't know what they do. We've no idea what they do. In fact, if you take a straw poll, which I've done, there's a lot of people in Dinnington don't even know who they are. So, that's so as far as I'm concerned, I don't see why we shouldn't expect them to get that report.
Could you speak up, please?
I could see people saying they were doing a bias report, we politicised it because we'd have 2 members from the Labour Party in the opposition.
Well, I think we would invite all 3.
Well, so we invite all 3, but we don't come. I think for a written report, first we give a written report, like the letter, I think the agreed with it. That's why I asked the question, because if the other one doesn't come, it looks a bit biased, one side.
Yeah, I mean, as Councillor Smith would probably appreciate, we can only request, we've got no powers to actually force anything like that. I mean, I personally do take advantage of speaking to borough councils on a regular basis to find out what's happening. But that's just me, personally. That's what I mean, we could quite happily, if members agree, request a written statement, not statement, but a report from all 3. But as I say, there's no obligation for them to actually give it.
I'm just going to say I think it's a good idea and I'll second.
I don't think it was actually a proposal yet, it was more of a discussion.
Chair, can I take it?
Well, I was going to come to this.
I have no problem with the report. I mean, verbally, or if I've obviously got another meeting, or if I'm ill or whatever, I'd say the written one, private what's going on. Personally, it's what I do every day to people if they ask me, do it at surgery as well, so that's no problem. Can't say more than that.
Forgive me, Ian, because you're there. If you
No
don't
problem.
mind,
I've got no problem at all with that.
but unfortunately, due to the formal nature of the meeting, if I do ask you a question, if you're going to respond, I've got to ask Councillor's permission that you can talk during the meeting. So, may I ask for a show of hands that Councillor Finney speaks to a question I may ask? Just so we can take advantage right there, obviously Councillor Tweed's acknowledged that he's got no problem with it.
I've got no problem at all.
We will formally ask you by email and if you can give us basically reports of what you do and things so that we can see what's happening in the borough.
Sorry, Chair, does that go for the Parish Council? Are they going to let us know what they're doing?
Sorry?
Are they going to let us know what they're doing?
Who's that?
Parish Council.
It's town council.
Town Council, sorry.
Town.
It's a
You can come and ask us any time.
Yeah?
I think that'd be a fair point. Sorry, Chair, that'd be a fair point. What do you do?
Yeah. Thank you.
No.
Right, so, do you, is it a formal proposal that we invite all 3 again? And
Speaks up.
seconded?
Speaks up.
Right, okay. Yeah.
And you suggest all three of them be a separate report?
Yeah, that's what we've agreed, yeah. No, that's what we've proposed.
It's only a proposal, as I say, it's down to them what form they give us, to be honest, as well. If Councillor Finney is comfortable with it, if he'd rather come and do a presentation, we can fit it in the meeting as a presentation during the meeting. Whichever way. Can we have a show of hands for the advice? Thank you. The last item in this section is to consider support for the Dream project. So we've got information in the pack. Basically, it's a request that's come via RMBC from a company called the Dream Project, which basically look to enable people, I'm trying to get the right word in, it's learning difficulties, and they'll help them how to access into helping charities and things like that. And basically, what they're asking for is that we could make this form available for them to use. Obviously, it would be only at the times where our regulars aren't using it. So it's just for your permission for Clark to talk more with them and to organise the events.
Would you speak up, please?
Is it for local candidates?
It's not specified particularly whether it is or isn't, but to be honest, I don't think they'll be bringing people from the other side of Rotherham all the way to here. I think they'll be trying to target sites around the borough that this would.
We are targeting people in this area, didn't we?
Yeah, that's what this
What
report would
they
be.
want you to do is train fundraisers for all different areas of Rotherham. So it would be, if they had a session in Dinnington and they're looking to what their fundraisers in Dinnington and where a big charity.
Well, this one is for Dinnington.
Yeah, that's right.
Does it want to go out?
Yeah.
Dinnington area. That's right.
Yeah.
We're not looking for 4 sessions in 2 hours.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, it's what we need to do.
So, let's show of hands that the clerk can contact them and discuss further. Thank you. Okay, next item is to just been advised at this point is where we'll feed the urgent items. Right, the first urgent item was to discuss Councillor Wardle's resignation. He's actually missed the amount of meetings where we would have gone to him and actually said that he would no longer be a member, but he's actually issued his resignation to myself and I have fully accepted it. What this does is I'll come to the clerk because there is a due process to follow as a result of it.
Yeah, I've advised electoral services that Rotherham for resignation. They have replied to me just before this meeting, eventually. We still have a statutory obligation to publish the notice of the vacancy which they offer with the email that will go public tomorrow. There will be no by-election. I'll read it word for word just so I don't get anything wrong. The Town Council can choose to co-opt if it wishes, or can run with the vacancy until the elections in May, provided, of course, that it is current, which it is. It's basically the issue of until May.
Well, we've been doing it for 6 months, so I don't think another 2 or 3 months is going to make any difference to us. But I'm a bit worried about this thing where we're calling it a resignation. because Councillor Ward was deliberately not turned up for 6 meetings. Now, the legislation on it is that if you don't attend 6 meetings in a year, then you're deemed to have given up as being a councillor. But you haven't resigned as being a councillor, you've missed 6 meetings. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a resignation, it's actually been kicked off, basically.
I think
So I don't like the fact that-
tonight's meeting would have been the 6th meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
And I received his resignation before tonight, so it is a resignation.
That's a pretty good way of doing it, isn't it?
Does any other members have any comments about the process that we have to follow?
Would you speak up, please, Councillor?
Yeah. So I agree with Councillor. We're 2 months in front. You know,
We don't have to co-opt, so do members agree that we run to the end of the term and not co-opt anyone in place? Sure, Max? Second item that was deemed urgent is the YLCA, it's Yorkshire Local Council Association branch meeting, which is quite interesting. Normally we wouldn't bring it in as an urgent item, but members don't always receive the information. Can I again bring Clark in just to tell you about it?
Yeah, I mean, the email that so on Saturday the 21st of February, 2 p.m. at Ecclesfield Parish Council. So this is the Yorkshire branch of the YLCA, and we've been asked to see if anybody wishes to represent Dinnington Town Council at that meeting. Saturday 2.
The reason why we brought it as an urgent item is that one speaker is Alan Billington.
Dr. Alan Billings, the crime commissioner.
So, does anybody want to go to the meeting to represent council? I can't. It's difficult for me during times like that, so unfortunately I can't. Send the details through. It's just, I just wanted to make it because of who was speaking, it would be quite interesting if we get some. Okay. Third item is the venue for April, May and June's meetings. Again, can they bring Clark in?
Yeah, just to advise you, previously published dates of the meetings April to June when this place is closed will stand. We managed to sort of alternative venue. Members of the public as well, is down at Davies Court. Same time, just a different venue. But the meetings for April, May and June will be held at Davies Court, not here. Same time, same days, just a change of venue.
Obviously, that will include the parish meeting in April. That will be down at Davies Court.
Just to advise you as well, because it's a residential home, we will need to make sure every single one of them is signed in there as well. So when you come to attend, you can make sure you sign in the reception this week.
Do we have any comments? That's the real information I have. Okay. Item 4 is the ICO response to the Freedom of Information appeal. In your packs, you've got the Information Commissioner's Office.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought we decided on April meeting that we were having the
No, that's number 5.
Right.
No, that's a separate. Right, if we'll bring the clerk in again to just, it's the...
I've emailed you a copy of what the Information Commissioner has sent to the General Regulatory Council, who is the body we have now appealed their decision to. We stuck in our comments on the appeal. What was come back from the Information Commission Office is their response to our appeal. We have until February the 18th to add any further comments. In light of the ICO's response to our appeal, everybody got any comments to that. Personally speaking, I think we've said pretty much everything we can say. Unless anyone wishes to add any more comments, we need to do so by that date.
Can you just repeat that last bit? The last bit of that statement you just said? What you should do? What you've done personally?
Yeah.
I hear you now, that's all. Sorry.
Yeah, I said that as far as I'm concerned, at the moment we've done everything we can do in terms of stating everything. If we wish to add anything more, we'll put until February the 18th to do so.
I mean, I'm not got it in front of me, but just to recap on it. Basically, I believe that the appeal went to the solicitors.
I don't know exactly where the one level above the Information Commission's office. It's part of the chambers. I don't know, I believe it's set up right at the very top.
Basically, the conclusion they've come to is that on the balance, they believe that Rotherham Borough have given us all the information. Well, I'm certainly not going to call them liars.
I will.
No. On balance, they've given us all the information that they possibly could, and they are recommending that it should be not taken forward, but they believe that the appeal has no grounds. May I ask members to allow Mr. Walker to speak on this specific subject? Show of hands.
I'd just like to say, if you are going to take it further, your comments ought to reflect what's actually happened. Rotherham Borough Council have treated with contempt from day one, and the people of Dinnington with contempt from day one. Whether we're trying to say playing field and peer welfare, these plans were in place for Rotherham Borough Council from day one. And for them to say they've had no negotiation with Taylor Wimpey is an outright lie. We could get that on tape. Right? It's an outright lie. There's no way in this world of two parties not had any meetings whatsoever, and yet it's in the final core strategy to be taken out of the Greenbelt, taken away as a community asset, and they said they've not spoke to each other. So I think we all ought to bear in mind what action you ought to take, because they're treating with contempt. We've had this discussion earlier on. They're still doing it now. There's got to have been some formal meetings. The first reply was it was sensitive information. The letter to Kevin Barron said they hadn't even had a meeting. The land is now surplus to requirement. They've never mentioned the covenant. They've never done no wildlife things, no nothing, biodiversity, whether it's checks, nothing. There's something crooked with it. And I'm not bothered what they say on these things. We should stand firm on this. I know it's in our interest in Greenbelt Group, but it affects everybody in Dinnington. It affects welfare and everything, the way Rotherham Borough Council are treating this area. It's disgusting. We've got to stick it out and push it to the limit.
I think, just coming back to all that, we have and still continue to support...
Yes, I know that. I'm on about the final response.
This very specific item is the response back from the information.
I fully understand that. What I'm saying to you is it just goes to prove, yet again, you're treating him with contempt. You cannot sit there, Ralph, I know you'll not agree with me, but you cannot sit there and say that there's been no meeting between Taylor Wimpey and Rotherham Borough Council's planners. If that is on the plans from day one, and every site had to be deliverable, at the core strategy, it had to be deliverable to go to government inspector. That site was deliverable then, according to them, without access. There's definitely been something swept under the carpet. Definitely, 100%.
Can I personally say that I quite agree with this one? I think that things are done correctly. I think we should push this everywhere.
Thank you.
Can I just ask you, what do you think that they should be? There are other things that we can actually put in.
Well, to be quite honest, you can make your final comments, and we have been talking about this as a group. We're aware that time you've committed, and we thank you all for your backing on that one. But there's one now you can ask for. It's not freedom of information. It's a local government thing, and it's retrieving information. It's a 1985 Act. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but we could go down that avenue if you want to do it. But I think from reading notes what I've seen, it looks as though actually Dinnington Town Council is trying to progress this, to trying to get to the bottom, and it's actually upset the people who's viewing it. That's my take on it, and they won't be seen that they've dropped a clanger point in it. I think that's what's happened. But you can't sit there and tell me nothing's happened. Why is it that them sites, especially this 219, is still in the sites and policies when they've had no negotiation, and it's registered as a community asset, and all they're doing is taking mick out, or oh, you're sat there, oh, you're what's voted to like reject building on Greenbelt. Every person in Dinnington and Anson, they just take it make, and it's about time we stood up for it and said we're not having it anymore. They just dumping whatever they want in Dinnington and Anston and getting away with it.
I've just got another member of the public that wishes to come in on this one. Vic, can members, if they agree that you can come in on this subject, show of hands, please.
Can we remember that effectively the judgment that's been made by this body are really supporting a council that is now not fit for purpose? They're supporting a decision made by a council that is not fit for purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that could be a objection. The council that is supporting is not fit for purpose.
Yeah.
So that could be another objection.
I've just got a separate subject. Mr. Saville would like to come in on the subject. Show of hands is allowed to speak. Thank you.
I mean, the plans for the playing field originally were to build affordable houses on it. And I found out about this from just ringing up Taylor Wimpey and asking them. And they were quite happy to talk to me and tell me about what the plans were. So the plans, RMBC have planned all along to build approximately 90 units of affordable housing on those playing fields. That's why it was in the plan. There's no, as far as they're concerned, there's no real secret about it, and they were quite open in discussing it with me. But obviously RMBC, now they've got every man and his dog chasing after them, they've pulled the shutters down, and that's why they're trying to keep all the information in. But, you know, they've shown the true colours now, so we know what they're like.
That's why you can't get Barron to support the covenant, because he's in on it, I'm telling you.
Can I just say that, I mean, I just think that with the following procedure, and see what happens from that, but, you know, that we should actually be saying that if that fails, then we won't let it go, and that we'll carry on going down every avenue that we can. Because I'm not prepared to see building on Greenbelt. I'm definitely not going to allow them to take all our green space away from us. You know, we've got to look at the facts on wanting to take all that land off A57. You know, it's a ridiculous situation.
I mean,
as I'm concerned, there's plenty of places to build without actually taking parks and recreation areas. It's a stupid system to be doing.
We've all said in this council, don't be
it's one of the few councils that's actually done it.
Yes, right. I'll just try and keep it through the chair because we've got a few short ones.
Fundamentally, though, this is not actually the topic what we want to talk about. It's the lack of clarity in what they're doing. It's the, to use a term, the content of the old position that we need to really pursue this new document.
I think to accurately sum that up, the Information Commissioner's response to the General Regulatory Council is that they've done everything in accordance with their procedures and their judgment on the balance of probabilities on the information that's supplied to them. Their judgment is sound. And in that sense, we can't argue with it, however, it's the quality of the information provided to them. So we're not really appealing against what the ICO have done. It's more what's been fair to them.
They did factor on one area, say that they are actually treated us correctly, which, you know. What was said about being in touch with the Taylor Wimpey itself, and they were quite willing to talk to it.
start right at the bottom again. We're at a stage where we're quite high. So really, it's...
Just a quick passive observation. I can't say because I don't know what Lewis has said, but if Lewis's comments are true, that Taylor Wimpey have said that and there's no reason to disbelieve him, then that speaks volumes that they must have had talks with Rotherham Borough Council. They would not plan to build on a playing field without somebody saying, yes, we will sell it you. Come on, let's get real. Somebody they've had meetings, they're denying any meetings whatsoever. It stinks through and through.
Essentially what Councillor Davis was...
Oh, sorry, can't hear you.
Yeah, but that's essentially the same.
Sorry, Pauline, sorry. Sorry?
Can I just ask,
Well,
have you read
my
the man's name who spoke to her?
I can get it off, it's in my records.
Would it be worth giving him a ring and see if he'd make a statement?
You can give it a go.
It might be.
But I think by now we'll have cottoned on that.
But it might be worth
You
a
know.
telephone.
See, the thing is, if you ring people up and catch them off guard, they'll quite often... I mean, the same thing's happened with council officers in Battersby's department. I've phoned them up before, and they've we had this big hoo-ha about the road at the end of Wentworth Way. Right at the beginning, they were quite happily telling me that their traffic people had had meetings with the developer. Their traffic people had gone over the developer's plans and told the developer how much of the site they could serve from Wentworth Way. But if you ask through the official channels and ask them to put it in writing, all of a sudden that changes to we've had no discussions with the developer, we don't know what you're talking about. Because they can't afford to be seen to be colluded in that way. But then again, they try to grease the wheels a little bit by having these back channels. This is what you're up against. No, because they're not covered by the FOI Act.
So we ask one of their representatives to come here and do a...
You can if you like, but they'll tell you as soon as the land comes forward, they'll be happy to speak to the local community about building houses, something like that.
It's a lot of ifs and buts, really.
But what I was going to say is, I wouldn't abandon all hope, even if the Information Commissioner cuts you off, because in a few months it might be worth asking the question again directly of whoever's running the planning department at RMBC, because it ain't going to be Battersby and his crowd, because they'll have got paid off and they'll have moved on by then. So you're probably going to be able to have a chat to one of these commissioners and ask them for the same information. And you might find a commissioner appointed by central government is a lot more willing to talk to you honestly than the sort of crooks that are there now. So that's another avenue that you could just consider.
I think you've got a point there where when parachute in. When they do come in with chance, then they're in a position where they then make it.
They're also maybe in a position where they're not listening to anyone.
Well, I think that's
The difficulty they've got is in the MPPF. It says in black and white, you can't take recreational land without replacing it with same or better in the same area. Now, this is the problem they've got there. And I think, to be honest, that's probably what's going to end up being their undoing, because they've got nothing to replace that land with, as far as I know.
It's wrong.
It's not, it's true.
You're wrong. The point is
It's
that
in
the
black
covenant
and
on it
white.
says it can only be used for that.
Well,
And the bigger and better is supposed to be in place now, and it's not on the sites and policies. The covenant and everything else what goes with it has never been discussed. That's why Kevin...
Yeah, I don't know...
That land can only be used as recreational.
Sorry, through the chair. I don't know anything about the government. I'm talking about the government's national planning policy framework. That's what it says in black and white. And if you look at, if anyone's familiar with Pittsmore Road in Sheffield, there's a housing development being proposed there at the minute where they're going to build houses on top of a park, and they're having to find some land to replace that. Okay, so if you want to look that up on Sheffield Council's website as a case
You
study.
can't find it in their area, can they?
They can. They're going to replace it with something that's on the on edge of a cliff. But I'd point you towards that if you want a case study to look at.
I pick up from members, I believe, that they wish to go further forward with this. We also will seek information from all parties quickly about how we can go forward, and Clark will be looking at drafting a response back to this subject. Members agree that we can move in that direction? Show hands for that. Which is why I'm asking for an urgent response. Okay, right on to the last of the urgent items, which is April meeting. In the last 2 Aprils, we've allocated the April town meeting as a parish meeting. I'm not going to go into exactly what the parish meeting is. I would still want to keep a normal town date in April as the parish meeting, because we've advertised that. But we do require an extra meeting in April with members' permission as a separate finance meeting, so we can approve accounts, so we can sign them off and we can pay the bills and stuff and things like that. I've no proposals for when in April, but would suggest probably the week, the third Saturday, third proposal is that we have an extra finance meeting on the 3rd Monday in April with members' permission. Do you have any comments? No. It's just to see Mondays. I mean, it's up for discussion when you want to do it. I'm taking no one wants to come in on this on Monday. What we're saying is that normally the checks are already done and payments are made after that second Monday. Staff is used to being paid straight after the meeting. We could do with bringing it in the week, the first week. That may have happened, but I'm more comfortable that we have a finance meeting at least. And it can be during the daytime or in the evening. Daytime meeting. So you're looking for a finance meeting on the 13th before the parish meeting at night. Yeah. Okay, so what we're looking at is we'll school the 20th for reasons that we need to get payments through before then. So the daytime, the 13th, which is before the parish meeting. Time, 2 o'clock? Yeah. It's just formal, so we'll be discussing further. Okay. Yeah, it'll come through like oh no? We'll have to make sure.
I will say that provisionally and I will confirm.
Yes, we've still got March's meeting to be able to confirm it. But with your permission, that's what we want to do. Okay. Right, so we've moved off those items. So if we move then on to Park Avenue Cemetery, Lone Theatre, Watson Land. There is one item, you have the information there. I think it's quite clearly put. Personally, I would like to set a precedent for anyone to come along and just ask that we half the price of what we would normally charge. Some information for you is that what you can consider is that because it's interment of ashes, normally that price is included with a headstone of things. You could essentially knock around about £300 off that higher figure.
This lady, where does she live now?
Away from the village.
How long has she lived away?
20 years.
24 years. When we voted on this to make it pay, in the agreement, what we agreed that if anybody been born here, lived here a lot of years, then you could still have the cheap better. Because when you look at people, you could have lived here for years and years and years, and have to go away, nursing home, something like that. You die there, and where we work, we'd have to pay for the time. So we said, anybody would have spent a lot of years in Dinnington, and had to go away. Whether or not they thank you.
Well, that's how long the individual who was died has lived away. If you read what she's put, she arrived when she was 13 years old in Dinnington. I think what he's saying is that this individual passed away in the 80s. Not 20 years old, that may be here. It would be confirmed. It was quite a residency there. But I don't know that for 100%.
But if you believe that, that was formally discussed. So it's for your consideration.
Can you tell me why it costs £1,970 to return ashes? I mean, it says ashes, it's not. It's saying return one's ashes. I mean, surely it can't cost nearly £2,000 to...
No, the fee is £985. But then, that's for residents of Dinnington. That includes a hairstyle and includes lifetime maintenance. No, what's been agreed by council, I don't know when it is, some time ago, was that any non-Dinnington residents would pay double going rate for the service they require by the cemetery. And that's a standard policy right across certainly this borough anyway. And it's to deter certain cemeteries from being able to use people who just come in for all the
Yeah, but it's saying here that she came over from Ireland when she was 13, lived in Dinnington, brother and sister were born in Dinnington, her kids were born in Dinnington, all the family, parents, sisters, brothers are buried in Dinnington Cemetery. She's got brothers, nephews and nieces still living in Dinnington, and now much connection do you want with Dinnington? I mean, I just think that, I put it as a proposal, I propose that we do it at the lowest price.
accept that?
And then again, when we got right at the beginning, when we discussed the different cases.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Next item is the monthly account schedule and relevant budget information. You all have the accounts there. Any comments about the accounts? Just going to finance officers.
Just to make members aware, if you notice the receipts look quite low this month, that's because we didn't get bank details to be included. There is no, there isn't. But the council already was out for there is actually more. So that shows there.
Looks like
So next month we'll see a much greater receipt coming. Yeah, but not, yeah, we did. We did, which I'm not sure to it's slightly, the figures are just very slightly to the little bit. That's right.
the biggest use of copper January was the Operatic Society.
I'm saying it's no figures there to say, isn't it? I understand what you're saying, but paying a lot of money out, not getting much through the law. So we thought we looked at, like we said, what's looking at again.
That's not big back.
With the figures that we have, we couldn't make them all, unfortunately. The figures that we have, does anybody have any questions on what we've actually got? It was the ones that were actually on the lab posts. They put them up, and it was for them to take service when it was what was on tower. We should have asked for a class session. Okay, so everyone that took a look at the accounts, and if there's no comments or questions.
Yeah, it's all I'm asking about the telephone bill.
Oh, sorry.
Is he really want to work on this telephone? Because I don't tell him all well, so.
That covers 3 more. That covers 3 more months. That covers 3 more months.
Well, so that's on 3 more.
Right. And that is just the standard.
I know we purchased one for the same person.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at that, it's £60.
Yes. No, it's the standard charge is £17 per month. It's the basic flat
Well,
fee.
they don't know what else, so.
There's nothing above that.
That's the 3. That's the base rate for all 3.
Well, it's money, isn't it? You don't increase the rest of it, is it? Everybody down.
Right. Well, if there's no comments, can I have a show of hands to be accepted the accounts?
Well,
Propose that they accept. Second, and show of hands.
oh, sorry. Have a look at that one. What, Ray, give us some money back. They only charge us £260.
Correct.
How is that? Because last week they said they was charging a bit too much.
No, that's not about because there was a duplication in November.
Sorry?
There was a duplication in November.
So, just looked at all the charges. How many of the charges were
Can I just ask at this point, have we spoken to this area?
Yeah, in the question that Councillor Russell asked there was regarding our person who does our grave digging in the cemetery. And she just asked if I spoke to her recently. And I'm quite elusive to get on the phone. I'm trying to speak to him because I have a question regarding this fees and various the fees. I don't want parity.
It's dead difficult to get over that.
For me, move on we've accepted them and signed them. Right, the next item is for Dinnington Town Council grants. You have a letter there from Jade requesting the capital funding that we originally gave them, then took back because the place they wanted to use, they couldn't use. And we did at the time say, if you come back to us formally, we can ring fence it until that time. Can I have comments on it, please? Sorry, I just stop.
Can I just say, why wasn't this money mentioned in precinct?
Because it's in the
It's still not on any balance sheet of that precinct.
no, it's in the capital money.
But I think, if I'm right, when we first offered them that money, it was to secure premises. And because they didn't secure the premises,
No, it was the renovation of the premises.
this time they've already secured the premises.
Sorry, this time it's for
They've already secured the
no,
premises.
it was the renovation of the
I'm sure
last
it's to
time.
secure premises.
Well, we can go back in the minutes, but it was for renovation.
But I mean, that £10,000 they want, if we put that into precinct, we wouldn't have put precinct.
No, we can't do that because it's capital money.
£10,000
It's not revenue.
into what's going on.
I agree with this wholeheartedly. Teenagers in Dinnington need somewhere. The people, the youngsters in Dinnington need somewhere to go.
Well, they've already got the premises.
We agreed to give
We agreed to give it to them, and we
gave it to them.
Yes, and they gave it back, and we've just been keeping all of it.
Yeah, we're asking, we spent 3 hours at the precinct to went through with a fine tooth.
Yeah, but that's it's different money.
It's absolutely nothing to do with it.
Money.
What we talked about at the precinct was revenue. This had been ring-fenced, specifically kept in the capital account. And
You said
at the
we want to
time,
take nothing out of the capital account, we want to try to save as much as we
no, that's not what I
can.
said.
The precinct, we did.
I'm sorry, but that is not what I said. And we actually did move some capital reserves across, so I can't accept that.
Can you tell me then, what is this the £8,000 that the town council gave them? It's on their balance sheet for 2013, over £8,000 that they got from town council. Is that
Not
Just
seen
do
there.
updates,
But so we've got the town council gave them £8,000. Is that the £8,000? Did they take? Is that what they got back? What the town council got back?
When they realised that we couldn't fulfil what they wanted at the premises, we said that we weren't happy about the money to stay in their account until they found somewhere else. We asked for it back, kept it in our capital reserve, and told them that if they did find premises and they wanted to use it in the same way, and we managed to capitalise it because it was renovations, it would be there for them.
So you give them £8,267.
I thought it was more, to be honest. As I said, that's their accounts.
Their books say town council ran £8,267.
Well, we'll look more into that. Because it
So
won't be...
now it's £10,000.
No, that's what they're saying in their letter.
Yeah, but then you're saying that it's ring-fencing capital and that it's for renovations. Well, that's what the £10,000 ring-fencing for. Now, it says in their letter, and it also says in their account, they say that we have now secured premises and funding for building roads. So they've got upfront funding for building work. They say that they funded, according to their account, they funded by the big lottery fund until 2016. So they're already funded until 2016. They've already got funding for building works.
No,
So there's no,
it
so
doesn't say they've got complete funding.
it says we've now secured premises which they got from council for nothing,
Yeah.
basically.
Is
And
it
we'd
the
asked for it,
council
we'd asked for it,
Please
they
don't
didn't give it to us.
disrupt.
We'd asked for it and they didn't give it to us, so they gave it to Jay instead. But they said we've now secured premises and funding for building works. So they're saying they've got funding for building works.
Well,
So they've already got funding for building works. This is a capital, this is the capital fund, which is for building work. So we're going to give £10,000, but it ain't going to be for building work, because we've already got building work funding. We've just got precept by 8%, this council,
may I make a suggestion?
against our advice, but they did it.
May I make a suggestion to members? As they say there, they are quite happy to come and do a presentation, rather than us guessing how much funding they've got and not got, whether they've got so
guessing. I'm not guessing.
They're in black and white, they've already secured.
Do members want them to come?
I second that.
I propose that we invite them. I can propose.
You've already got a proposal in front of you anyway.
Is there an amendment to the proposal?
Well, we need to clarify what we think that about.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you would like them to come in and do a presentation? Please don't.
So we come and give us a presentation.
We've got a second. So those for the amendment.
But that's not an amendment. That's not an amendment. That completely changes the proposal. The proposal is that we don't give it to them. You can't have an amendment to that proposal that says we invite them to come to give a
from my
presentation. So that's not a proposal.
What members
that's
want
not an amendment.
Okay.
What do you call it?
What members are wanting to do is seek clarification to exactly why we want the money.
It tells you in black and white.
We've already got a proposal that says, we say that we don't want this council to give the £10,000 to Jay. We've got a proposal that says that. Now, if you want to make an amendment to it, the amendment could be you give half of it, you give a quarter of it, 3/4 of it, or whatever. You can't completely and utterly change the motion that's being proposed.
So can we?
Sorry. It sounds like there's actually two separate propositions.
Yeah.
There's one saying, should we just honour it, or should we actually get some more information first?
So we can vote on the proposal, and if the proposal fails, we can then ask them to come in and do a presentation next month showing exactly what we have. Okay, so we have the proposal that we do not honour the request. Those for not giving them the funding. And those against not giving them the funding. I know. Right. The first vote is that we don't give them the money. Sure, that's.
Before the university, we vote against that.
We voted against 30% 2 years ago.
Well, it's out of the time, so we can't. I think we've got to take the vote.
It's a lot of money.
We voted
That's what we said. There's three of us said we don't give it them. Now, you're saying we do.
I'm saying that see, forcing an issue where, and I need to find a way around this.
I'll give it a way around it.
Please, because I want them to come and tell us exactly what they want money for next month.
You've got it, I can give away that.
Well, I'm quite happy because it's not. This is for kids of Dinnington.
No, it's not.
No, to make money for somebody.
No, it is, Gav. That's
But
a
it's
joke.
not from here.
That's a joke. The thing is, what this does is, it replaces, or attempts to replace, the youth workers that had legitimate jobs with Rotherham Borough Council, and because Rotherham Borough Council haven't got the guts to stand up against this government, they accepted the cuts, they sacked 1,000 workers, they even sacked youth workers by text messages. That's what they did, and what Jade's attempting to do is take advantage of that. And do you know why they want to come to Dinnington? And do you know why they want to be where they are? Because that postcode says that this is a deprived area, and it means that they can go for bigger funding. And now, and it took them, they were a private company until September in 2013, when they were getting council buildings. That's the kind of people they are. They have 2 employees. They pay £60,000 out in wages to 2 employees. That's the kind of organisation. It's a disgrace.
was actually offered Amston Council, offered them the old library.
Yes, they did.
And they
Please.
refused it.
Because they had to renovate.
I would like order and before you speak, I'm sorry, but I must ask members if they will allow you. Show of hands, ladies.
So in connection to this council, Dave,
Carry on, please.
I was just going to say what Dave said. You give them money, they take wages out. So that means what you give them, that's bringing their skyrocket.
yeah,
In my way,
we've been there
and at the end of the
wages.
day, that money's supposed to go for them kids. Not to make them very low
Which is why I'm suggesting that they come in and tell us exactly how.
Just don't give it to them.
If Jane,
Please be quiet.
Jane Elton get that building, and so did Jackie. And Jane's daughter has got kids.
No, don't bring.
No,
please don't.
but I'm just stating the fact that's how it is.
So what I'm saying is that they should be invited in to tell us exactly how things are. Right, I would
Just get some
please ask
backgrounds.
members if Mr. Sadler can speak on this subject. Show of hands, please.
I've just got a couple of concerns. One would be the area that the new building's located in. It's residential, and I'm not sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not being a NIMBY. I don't live in that area exactly, but I don't know if the people who do will thank you for giving thousands of pounds to somebody who's going to run potentially noisy events and stuff there. It's a residential area, and I just question whether it's suitable. The other thing, can someone just clarify once and for all? Do any councillors on this council have a direct personal connection to anybody who would benefit from Jade?
Yes, but I'm not going to mention names.
Right, without mentioning names then, without mentioning names, can you tell us how you've addressed that? For example, was that councillor or was that person excluded from any discussion? Did they declare it as an interest?
I'm sure it's in fact, I'm not sure.
Did they give personal assistance to Jade to get that building from RMBC, even though it was listed as an asset that the town council itself was interested in acquiring?
Nothing to do with us.
I'm sorry, that's an example of councillors acting in what I see as a corrupt manner.
Exactly.
Please
Yes.
be quiet.
Yes,
No, it's town's got some backbone.
Please come in.
I have no connection to Jade, but I fully support the idea of Dinnington youth having somewhere to go. When they last came to speak to us, it was put over that they'll have people with difficulties will have somewhere to go, someone to confide in, therapists, all that.
Is that building the right place with it being in a residential area? Obviously the people living there have rights as well, you know? I mean, it's a residential area, isn't it? It's surrounded by residential housing. The only other thing around there is the pharmacy, dentist and doctors. Everything else around there is residential.
No, they've not started yet.
If it were on the main street or something like that,
Which it was last time.
I could see it.
I'm sorry, but the gentleman might confirm that I've acknowledged it.
But if there's this connection also with a sitting councillor, then I think that's dodgy. And I don't think under any circumstances you should get any money until that's been properly addressed. That's the kind of thing our MBC get up to.
One more member of the public in.
Which is not fit for
Sign
for use.
members that Les can speak on the subject.
Sorry, I keep hearing that the young people of Dinnington don't have a lot and whatever. We're actually running several youth clubs and other activities. As for young people getting help for issues, Rotherham Council is just about to withdraw the service altogether that is running out of our hall due to funding again. So it just frustrates me when I'm sat here listening to this. They're taking a lot of money, this group, and I mean a lot of money. The rest of us are being turned down on different grants because there's a lot of money being pumped into this one. They're not actually on the street working with the young people, as I see it. I've been doing it for 10, 15 years in Dinnington, and suddenly this group comes in, swallows up a lot of money that could have gone a lot further amongst other groups in Dinnington. There's a lot of children, youth work going on. We forget the Scouts, the Air Cadets, all the other groups. They don't get this sort of funding.
I do apologise, Les. Sorry.
Sorry, thank you.
I think we acknowledge we have support, hopefully, that we have supported you
in the
as
past.
well.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just very frustrating
Not
when
to
you're
the
hearing
tune of
that.
£10,000.
Yeah.
Have you had £10,000
Please be quiet. Can we just go through this thing on funding? Because this is their balance sheet. They haven't produced one for 14, 15, because it's charity. Big lottery fund, 20